Thank you.
Okay, go ahead.
Thank you, Ron. This is the zoning, North Castle zoning board appeal for November 3rd. We'd just like to say, as you can see, we have 4 members, we usually have 5. We have a quorum, and it takes 3 to have your variance approved. Lori, can we have a roll call?
John Stevo,
Yeah.
Les Bergelhammer,
Here.
Bob Greer,
Here.
Joe Monacelli,
Here.
Scott Stopp.
Not here.
Not here. If there are any corrections to the minutes, if not, can somebody approve them?
I'll make a motion.
John will make a motion to approve. Second.
I'll second it.
Thank you. Laura, can you open a public hearing for the first application?
Sure.
Would you mind reading the?
Okay, we're gonna open the public hearing for Andrew and Robin Frank, 3 Deer Ridge Lane, Armonk, New York, and known on the town tax assessment maps as section 10004, block 2, lot 20.5, and located in an R2A zoning district. In order to increase the size of the proposed patio on the property, the applicants will need the following variance from the town code. The maximum allowed in an R2A zoning district for section 355.26 C1B is 14,039.3 square feet. The provided amount of 15,185 square feet requires a variance of 1,146 square feet.
Corey, would you like?
Evening, everyone.
Could you please, at the end, I know there's 5 positives. Address the 2 negatives, because I don't think the people are here.
Sure, absolutely. I'll go
Right.
through, I have 3 negatives.
Okay.
And I'll go through all of them.
Thank you.
Yeah, not a problem. For the record, Corey Salamo, Darren and Steinmetz here tonight on behalf of Mr. and Mrs. Frank. I have Andy Frank as the property owners here with me this evening. Property is located at 3 Deer Ridge Lane. It's in the R2A zoning district, and it's approximately 2.3 acres. As Lori just read in the notice, the max coverage permitted is 14,039. We are seeking 15,185. So we would need a variance of 1,146 square feet. It's approximately an 8% variance. So I just want to point out that the patio, the driveway, everything that makes up the building coverage is 100% compliant in terms of its location. It doesn't encroach into any setbacks or anything. It's all within the permitted building envelope. We're not adding any additional footage to the house. The house isn't getting larger. It's just coverage. Obviously, it's on the ground, so once the landscaping is in, it'll be imperceptible to all the neighbors. They'll never know one way or the other. Couple other things to note. Some of the coverage that we have on the property is comprised of grass pavers. So we get a 50% credit, but we do have to count some of it. And then an additional amount of the coverage, the basement, while underground, goes out beyond the limits of the house. So it's covered in grass, but we still had to include that in coverage as well. So that's not perceptible, but it is counted as coverage. In my letter, you saw we had 5 letters of support from the neighbors. The chair just pointed out we did get some letters of concern. So the first one that we got is from Len Shendell. They expressed their displeasure with the appearance and size of the existing structure. And they're against having any part of it increased in size. So they want to note the objection, so we're noting it. Appearance and size, that was all approved at the RPRC. I don't know really what to say. The house, as I said, isn't increasing in size, so I don't know really how to address their concern. They don't like the way it looks, but that's personal taste. Paul Fackler submitted a letter. Let's see what it is. So they seem to be a little confused. They think we're putting on a patio that's 15,000 square feet. So to be clear, it's not the patio. It's all the coverage on the site, the driveway, the pavers, everything in that. It's not a 15,000.
Corey, how much more are you putting on the patio?
It's about 1,100 square feet. Right, what we're the variance isn't necessarily just for the patio. It's for the whole coverage, but 1,146 is what we're seeking. Let's see. It doesn't further decrease the open land on the property. It's all within the limits of disturbance in the building envelope. We're not gonna have any negative impacts to drainage or flooding problems, right? There's a retention basin on this parcel to handle that. In addition, I don't have my engineer here tonight, but there's a extensive system of Coltex that have been put in. I'm sure Rob can speak more intelligently to the Coltex than I can, but we'll handle all the water and there won't be any additional runoff of flooding issues. And then Bonnie Valenti submitted a letter, and it seems that her concern is about the peaceful and tranquil quality of life in the neighborhood. And so she's just was inquiring whether there's a noise ordinance in town. Because I guess she doesn't want to hear everyone outside enjoying the property late at night. There obviously is a noise ordinance in town, and like everybody else, if the Franks exceed the noise ordinance, the police will come out there and tell them to quiet down. So with that, here to answer any questions you guys may have.
It's also past my bedtime already, so.
Yeah. Exactly.
Do we have any questions, fellas? on
Well,
the-
yeah,
or less?
if you were not granted the variance, how are you with the layout? But you're talking about a fairly large area here. What do we got? You have 15,185 without needing a variance, right?
No, I have 1439
Oh, I mean 14.
without needing a variance.
14,039, right?
Yep.
So
And again-
if you were denied coverage, how are you hurt? But it's basically, I assume, a flat plaza, whatever you want to call it. So how would you be hurt if you did not get the variance?
Well, I think that's the point, right? It's not, I don't want you to think about it as we're putting a patio outside at the back door, and that's why we need the
Right.
additional 1146, right? It's the entirety of the site. It's where the pavers are that we're counting. It's how the courtyard for cars to turn around. It's the backyard. It's that we have to count stuff that's underground. And again, while it is underground, but it's counted as coverage because there's, obviously cement underneath there. So how are we harmed? I mean, we're just trying to, it's a new home and trying to lay it out exactly how the homeowner wants. And, we'd have to pick and choose where we were gonna cut back from.
What's it currently just grass?
Which it was, well, I mean, is that, we're in the process of construction,
You would
Right.
what?
of constructing everything right now. Don, how many months have you been at it?
It's been about 14 months. It's a brand new subdevelopment, so there's nothing on the site
Yeah.
currently. Ground up. And I think
Have you had any interaction with the neighbors? Was it 2 or 3 neighbors that are opposing it or objecting to it? Has there been any interaction?
I have not. The first I heard of this opposition, I believe Lori forwarded me 1 letter yesterday and 2 today. Is the first.
Has
I've
your
heard from her.
client been approached by them, do you know?
I have not. I'm happy to speak with them and see if I can help.
Yeah, I mean,
Fears in any way possible.
I assume you spoke with the ones that were supportive.
Correct. Those are the folks on my actual street, directly adjacent to me, who are all supportive.
Are the ones that have filed objections, are they closer to your property than the ones that are not?
Now, the ones I got letters from are directly contiguous with my property, so directly next to my property and directly in front of my property. Right, catty corner, right, so all the 4 houses surrounding were right in front of me and next to me.
So you have no idea why they're objecting.
I have no idea why.
I mean, my guess is that they got a letter of notice. I
What
mean,
you're saying is the positive 5 basically surrounds your property.
Yes, correct.
and- and-
No one's here to elaborate about
But,
what
you know,
the discomfort is, so.
If there's objections, they have to be on the point, and so far, I have heard nothing about lot coverage being that address any of the factors. It's. You know what I mean, Liz?
No.
None of the letters, even against, are recognizing what this is. This is a
They're
lot
talking about
coverage issue.
other issues.
Yeah.
They're talking
I'm
about other-
sorry, but I'm trying to, it's what?
they are talking about other issues than what's in front of the
Oh,
board,
okay.
which is just this de minimis lot coverage issue. Apparently, the property is being developed as we speak,
Correct.
and they have their lot coverage was too great. So the RPC sent them to you for a variance of, I think it's 0.07 something percent, not even
It's a low
10%.
percentage.
Yeah, 0.82.
It's a very low percentage.
Correct, but the objections, I read them and they don't address lot coverage. And that's the only thing we have in front of us. to determine whether or not the lot coverage variance should be granted, doing the fact.
They're worried about what's going on to the lot or what?
No, they're worrying about noise and things like this and how the building looks, and that's, it's not for this board to discuss tonight, in my opinion.
Okay.
Do we have any other questions or anybody? Say so.
And Laura, you're gonna put those letters in the record, so they're there.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay, if we don't have anything else, Lori, close the public hearing. on
Okay,
this.
we'll close the public
Close
hearing.
the public hearing. And Leslie, would you like to?
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we grant the variance. Looking at the criteria. Looking at the five basic reasons and determining a coverage here. It is not going to, under the first one, it will not impact a undesirable change in the character of the neighborhood. Or to the detriment that what we have in front of us to adversely affect the nearby properties. It does not appear that the benefit sought by the applicant can be achieved by some other feasible method other than seeking a area variance. It clearly does not reach the definition of being a substantial request for a variance here. I think, what is it, about 10%?
0.82,
0.82?
correct.
Okay, so that is not substantial. It's not going to have an adverse impact on the physical or environmental conditions of the neighborhood. And while it's self-created, okay, that factor by itself should not be the basis for denying the requested variance, which will be for a variance of 1,146 square feet. Where that was the size of the requested variance, and that's what I'm moving, that we grant the variance as I detailed in the proposal here.
Do we have a second? I will. We have a second. We have roll call, please, Laura.
Bob Greer,
Yes.
John Stepo,
Yes.
Les Bergelhammer.
Yeah.
Joe Monticello.
Yes. Thank you.
As always, thank you very much. I know I've been away for a while, but I think I'll be back
Yeah,
next
come
month.
back, come back.
I'll see you guys soon. I love being here. Everyone have a great Thanksgiving. Bye, don't see you.
Ready?
Our second application.
All right, we're gonna open the public hearing for
Uh,
Gary Boyd, 17 Orchard Drive, Armonk, New York, and known on the town tax assessment maps as section 10801, block 6, lot 74, and located in an R10 zoning district. In order to construct a shed on the property, the applicant needs the following variance from the town code. The minimum rear yard setback in an R10 zoning district is 15 feet, where 4 feet are provided, requiring a variance of 11 feet.
Who will be representing
I will. You want me?
your name, sir?
Gary Wood.
There you go.
So, as Lori had stated, I'm looking for a variance of 11 feet because I'd like to put a shed up on the property, and where I want to put the shed is kind of like the most flat and the easiest place where we don't have to disturb any property to put it up. It kind of conforms with what I have in and around me. I have a garage with an accessory apartment right on the property line, right behind where I want to put the shed. And then just behind my rear yard is another like long shed that is right basically on the rock wall right behind my property line, and a garage. So it kind of conforms with what's there.
How many sheds do you have?
None,
None? What's gonna be the size of this shed?
10 by 16,
10 by what?
16.
16?
Now, can you move this up to take away some of the, I mean, it looks like you're trying to get as much property as you can in your backyard.
Oh, I mean, honestly, I don't have a big backyard and I have 2 kids, and it's like I said, where it's going and the way my topographical, the way it's sloped and the way it is, it kind of would eat up some flat ground that we utilize.
What's this shed gonna be used for?
Storage, bicycles, snow blowers, all different stuff.
Garage?
Trying to get stuff out of the garage and then basement that's been in there and taking up more and more room.
But John, you indicated whether it be relocated, if you want to.
Yeah, well, all I'm saying is if you moved it forward, you can do away with the,
Right, but moving it forward, like I said, is gonna chew up the flat ground that we utilize
You what?
on the property. We utilize the flat ground on the property.
It's like a yard.
Yeah.
Here, with the kids would play in.
Right, the kids could play in it, or, you know, it's flat, it's easier to use.
No,
They sleigh ride in my backyard. Jackie's my neighbor. Jackie will attest to it. I mean, like,
is this your neighbor back? there?
yes.
That he objects, or he,
No, she's in support of my having the shed where we want it.
he's in support of it.
She is, yes.
And
Oh,
sir,
you're-
you,
He's a notice neighbor as well.
Yeah, I'm his neighbor, it's in bottom opposite side, Annandale Street.
are you okay with this?
Yeah, of
Okay,
course.
I just want to know, you're,
Thank you.
we want to hear from
Well,
everybody.
we
Thank you
have,
for coming, that's it.
Yeah, I thank you.
all right, now we have a
You
letter
can
from,
ride your sled.
from, the Schindels.
No, that was
No,
the
no,
last,
no, no.
And the last.
that was.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You don't have any letters on it.
No letters.
No letters. Two-
No letters?
Two
No letters.
neighbors in favor, and no letters. Yes.
Do we have any other questions? John?
This, well, I do have one other question. I'm not clear from the interchange of question. Has anybody in your neighborhood raised any objections as far as you know?
No,
And they're aware of the fact you're putting the shed in?
some public notice out to everybody.
Nobody came here, so.
I just think if you put some pine, people in back of you, didn't they have a complaint about seeing it?
No, no complaints.
John, there's no complaints.
No complaints.
You know, I was thinking maybe you could put some pine.
I don't think they
back.
would want the pines close to the house, the garage accessory apartment house that's there.
But didn't you say that, you know, you're putting it back where there's a stone wall, right?
No, there's no stone wall there.
What-
No, the stone wall runs up behind the yard where it's sloped down behind my property.
So that's not where the shed's going.
No, it's going on flat ground, like, I could show you on there if you want me
Yeah.
to.
Just draw it.
I'll draw the box.
Yeah.
Somewhere in that area there.
Because it's flat there.
Yeah, this is all.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
I just didn't see a drawing with where he had it, last.
We good?
And it's got the slope property where John is talking about moving it up.
It's flat there where you if you moved it up.
Now, the neighbor that would, from a site point of view, who would be closest.
There's Joe and Tara, and Joe and Tara are in support of it as well. I spoke to them like within a year ago, expressing the fact that I wanted to put a shed up and clean the area up back there and get some stuff out of my garage, and they were in support of it. They had no problem.
They're supportive of it.
Yeah.
There's no problem.
No, and they're not here.
I'm asking because I have a neighbor that's talking about putting a shed up, which makes me very unhappy. He's gonna put it in his backyard. I'm gonna,
Well,
is
I
there
think
any,
one thing, Les, with this shed issue, I mean, it seems that there's always a possibility of peeking the shed away from either the rear yard or the side yard and plopping it right in the middle of the yard. But it doesn't make any sense. Then the people don't have a yard. I think that's what the applicant was saying.
It doesn't
And I
look
think
like
that's
it.
what we get in front of us a lot. It's just more convenient to hide it and keep the property open, and I think that's what.
yeah, I know, it's a substantial variance being requested.
Yes, it is.
And it's better for the
And
neighbors.
sheds
too.
are usually substantial variances because they're always back there in the corner.
And there's never been any discussion whether or not you should have any trees put into, nothing like that.
No.
Nobody's raised that with you.
No, I mean, I have nice hedges, I have nice fence, I have stuff that definitely keeps it.
I think our yard's the only one that really sees into theirs, and we have trees between us, so our hedges.
So you wouldn't be bothered.
You
by
wouldn't be
this at all?
bothered, you're the one right there.
It's not a big, what is it, a quarter of an acre?
Lloyd, close the
All
public
right, we're
hearing.
gonna close the public hearing.
Would anybody like to make a motion, Les?
Okay, I'll make a motion. That we grant the variance requested, which is a variance of 11 feet where 4 feet are provided, which would be substantial. But in view of the presentation here and the presented to this board, I'm going to move that we grant the variance of 11 feet. That was required on the following grounds. There's no indication in the testimony we hear that there will be any desirable change in the character of the neighborhood. It does not appear that the benefit can sought for the requested variance here would be feasible for some other through another area variance. While it may be substantial, these other factors override that consideration. It does not appear that it'll have the proposed variance will have an adverse impact on the physical or environmental conditions of the neighborhood. And while self-created, that in itself could not be the basis for denying it. But for these reasons, I move that we grant the requested variance of 11 feet.
Second,
I'll second.
John. Roll
Roll
call, please, Laura.
Bob Greer,
Yes.
John Steeple,
Yes.
Lester Berkelham,
Yeah.
Joe Monacelli.
Here, yes. Thank you.
Thank you, fellas. Have a good night.
Okay, good night. That's about it, right? Anything else, Laura?
That's it.
Robert, if I can make. a
Good luck.
motion, meeting.
Yes, but you want me to second it, or you want me
Yeah,
to?
make a mo-
I make a motion, we close the meeting.
I'll second.
John, second.
I want to see the Phillies win the game. The Phillies,
Hey, you know, I need a piece of that wrought iron to make a little hand railing, so maybe I can get a piece of that, or there's enough out there. Right up where? The car went right to the door.
No,
Back here,
right here.
Look out the window. Look out that window.
Crashed into the back of